All right, Cowboys Nation, I need you to stop everything you are doing right now, because what just went down in Dallas over the last hour changes absolutely everything. We thought we knew about this team, and before I break all of this down for you, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button, because here at Blue and Silver Nation, we are covering every single Cowboys move the second it happens, and I promise you do not want to miss what is coming next, because this is just the beginning of something much bigger. So smash subscribe and let's get into this absolute bombshell that just dropped on Cowboys fans everywhere. The Dallas Cowboys just traded Osa Odighizuwa to the San Francisco 49ers. And I know some of you are sitting there with your jaws on the floor right now, because this was a fan favorite defensive tackle, a guy who brought energy and passion to that defensive line. And now he is wearing red and gold for one of our biggest rivals. And the crazy part is the Cowboys clearly do not care about sending talent to teams that have haunted them in recent years. Which tells me one of two things. Either this front office is being completely reckless, or they know something we do not know yet. And I genuinely believe it is the latter, because this move does not make sense in isolation. But when you start connecting the dots, it becomes crystal clear that Dallas is cooking up something major behind the scenes. The compensation coming back to Dallas is a third-round pick, and I want you to remember that number because it is going to become very important in just a minute. But let me walk you through what this trade actually means for your Dallas Cowboys and why this could end up being one of the smartest moves the front office has made in years, even though it hurts right now. First things first, we need to talk about why this trade makes financial sense, because I know a lot of fans are emotional right now, and I get it. Osa was a dog, he played with heart, he brought that intensity that you love to see from a Cowboys defender. But here is the reality that nobody wants to talk about. You cannot justify paying a player the kind of money Osa was making when that player is only seeing the field for 30 to 40% of the defensive snaps. And that is just the truth. The Cowboys were paying starter money for rotational production, and in a league where every single dollar matters, especially for a team that is trying to extend multiple star players, you have to make tough decisions. And this was one of those gut-wrenching cap management decisions that hurts in the moment but makes sense when you look at the bigger picture. Now here is where things get really interesting because this trade does a few things simultaneously that position the Cowboys for some massive moves going forward. You free up cap space immediately. Now yes, there is some dead cap attached to Osa's contract, but reports indicate the Cowboys can spread that hit across multiple seasons, so you are not eating the entire thing in one chunk. And that flexibility is huge when you are trying to maneuver in a tight cap situation. But the cap relief is almost secondary to what this pick represents, because now the Cowboys have 2 first-round picks in the upcoming draft, plus this third-rounder they just acquired, along with multiple fifth-round picks from compensatory selections they received when DeMarcus Lawrence and Jordan Lewis left the team last season. And suddenly, you are looking at a team with serious draft capital. And I am going to tell you right now, I do not believe for 1 second that the Cowboys are going to hold on to this third-round pick. Something in my gut tells me this pick is getting flipped almost immediately. And the question becomes, what exactly are they targeting? Because you do not trade away a player who can help you win games this season just to acquire a draft pick for a rookie who might need 2 or 3 years to develop. That does not add up. That is not how Jerry Jones operates. That is not how this front office has been moving this offseason. So, what are they planning? And this is where the speculation gets juicy, because there are multiple names floating around league circles right now. One name that keeps popping up is Patrick Queen, who would instantly solve the linebacker problem that has plagued Dallas for years. But here is my honest take on that situation. Would I give up a third-round pick for Patrick Queen coming off the season he just had? I am not entirely sure that math works out in our favor, but it is definitely something to monitor. Another name to watch is Jonathan Greenard from Minnesota, who would give the Cowboys pass rush help that they desperately need. And that trade makes a little more sense to me from a value perspective. But again, we are talking about speculation here. And I want to be clear with you guys, I am not pretending to have inside sources. I am just connecting dots based on what multiple league insiders have been reporting and what makes logical sense given the way Dallas has been operating. The beautiful thing about having multiple fifth-round picks is that you can package those together to move up or acquire a veteran player without giving up your more valuable assets. So maybe you trade 2 or 3 of those day 3 picks to get a guy who can contribute right now. And honestly, if the Cowboys want to trade every single pick after the second round to bring in proven talent, I would not be mad at that decision one bit. Because here is the reality. When you are picking in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round, you are gambling on potential. You are hoping that player develops into something special. But most of the time, those guys need years of coaching before they are ready to contribute at a high level. And this Cowboys team is not in rebuild mode. They are trying to win now. So go get players who can help you win now and let the developmental guys come through undrafted free agency. But wait, because as I am sitting here processing this Osa trade, another bomb just dropped, and this is where things start to get really crazy. According to multiple reports, the Dallas Cowboys also traded defensive tackle Solomon Thomas to the Tennessee Titans to reunite with some of his former coaches. And I need you to understand what this means because the Cowboys just moved 2 defensive tackles in the span of like 30 minutes. And they have only signed 1 defensive tackle this entire offseason in Otito Ogbonnia. So you do the math, they just created a massive hole at the defensive tackle position on purpose. And that tells me they have someone in mind. They have a plan. They know exactly what they are doing, and we are about to see something pop off that none of us saw coming. The Solomon Thomas trade brings back a 7th-round pick swap where the Cowboys get the higher pick plus $2 million in cap relief, and while that might not sound like a huge haul on paper, it is the cap space that matters most here, because every dollar freed up is a dollar that can go toward extending Quinnen Williams, or locking up George Pickens, or bringing in a free agent linebacker, or adding depth at a position of need. And when you combine the cap savings from both of these trades, you are looking at significant financial flexibility that did not exist 24 hours ago. Let me take a step back and give you some context on why this matters so much. Because the Cowboys have been through a rough patch this offseason, and I know a lot of fans have been frustrated, and I have been right there with you expressing that frustration. Dallas missed out on so many targets this offseason, and it has been painful to watch other teams scoop up players that we thought might be coming to Arlington. The Ravens swooped in and grabbed guys. The Raiders made moves that hurt our plans, and suddenly the Cowboys were left scrambling looking for alternatives while everyone else was adding impact talent. And I know that stung because I felt it too. But here is what I need you to understand. These trades today show me that the front office has not given up. They are still actively trying to improve this roster. They are pivoting to a new plan of action. And sometimes the best moves are not the sexy headline-grabbing signings. Sometimes the best moves are the calculated chess plays that set up bigger moves down the road. And that is exactly what I think we are watching unfold right now. Now, I want to address something that has been on my mind because when you trade a player like Osa to a team like San Francisco, it raises eyebrows. And I have seen some fans absolutely furious about sending talent to a rival. But here is my perspective on that. The Cowboys clearly believe they know something that the rest of us do not know. They are operating with information and a plan that we are not privy to. And either that confidence is misplaced and this will blow up in their faces, or they are about to surprise everyone with a move that makes this all make sense. And I genuinely believe it is the latter, because this front office has been too calculated, too strategic in their approach this offseason for this to just be random negligence. So trust the process even when it is uncomfortable, even when it looks confusing from the outside, because sometimes the moves that make the least sense in the moment are the ones that look genius in hindsight. And look, I want to wish Osa Odighizuwa nothing but success in San Francisco, because he was a great teammate. He brought energy to the locker room. He played hard for the star on his helmet, and that deserves respect. But also, and I mean this with all the love in my heart, I hope he has the worst game of his career whenever he lines up against the Cowboys, because that is just how this works now. He is the enemy. And in this division, in these rivalry games, you do not show mercy to former players, you compete, and you win. Let me talk about what the Quinnen Williams extension could look like, because with Osa off the books and cap space opening up, there is no reason why that deal should not get done very soon. Quinnen is the anchor of this defensive line. He is the guy you build around, and getting him locked up long-term has to be priority number one for this front office. And these trades make that extension so much easier to accomplish. So if you were worried about Quinnen's future in Dallas, this should give you some comfort, because the financial picture just got a whole lot clearer. The George Pickens extension is another one to watch, because reports have indicated that deal is essentially done, pending some final details, and with additional cap flexibility, those details become easier to finalize. So do not be surprised if we see multiple contract announcements in the coming days as the dominoes continue to fall. This is what an active offseason looks like. This is what roster construction in real time feels like. And even though it can be stressful and confusing when you are living through it, you have to appreciate that the Cowboys are not just sitting still. They are making moves, they are being aggressive, and they are trying to put together a roster that can compete at the highest level. Would I have done things differently if I were running this team? Honestly, I do not know, because I do not have access to all the information the front office has. I do not know what offers were on the table. I do not know what internal evaluations look like. So it is easy to sit here and second-guess every decision. But the reality is, these are professional talent evaluators, making calculated decisions based on way more data than any of us have access to. So, while I might question certain moves, I also have to acknowledge that they might be seeing something I am not seeing, and only time will tell who was right. But here is what I do know. The Cowboys have 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and multiple other assets to work with. And that is a solid foundation for either building through the draft or making aggressive trades to bring in proven veterans. And I think we are going to see a combination of both strategies play out over the next few weeks as the draft approaches and teams start getting antsy about moving picks. The linebacker situation still needs to be addressed, and I think that is going to be the next big move we see, because you cannot go into the season with the current depth at that position and expect to compete with the best teams in the NFC. Whether that solution comes through a trade using this newly acquired third-round pick, or through a draft selection, or through another free agent signing, I do not know, but something has to happen there. And I would be shocked if the Cowboys do not make a significant move at linebacker before training camp starts. The defensive line rotation is also something to monitor, because with Osa and Solomon Thomas both gone, you are thin at defensive tackle. And while Quinnen Williams and Otito Ogbonnia give you a solid foundation, you need more bodies, especially for a long season where injuries are inevitable. So expect at least one more defensive tackle addition, whether through the draft or free agency, or maybe another trade, because the Cowboys clearly are not afraid to make deals right now. I want to ask you guys something, and I genuinely want to know your thoughts, because this is what makes this community special. Are you comfortable with the direction this team is heading? Do you trust the process? Or are you frustrated with the moves being made? Because I think there are valid arguments on both sides, and I want to hear from real Cowboys fans in the comments below. Drop your take. Let me know if you think the Osa trade was the right call. Let me know who you want the Cowboys to target next. Let me know if you are confident in this front office, or if you are worried about the direction of the franchise, because your voice matters. And I read every single comment. Here is my final take on everything that went down today. The Cowboys are clearly pivoting to a new strategy after missing out on some of their primary targets earlier this offseason. And while that can feel disappointing in the moment, it also shows me that this front office is adaptable. They are not stubborn. They are willing to change course when the original plan does not work out. And that flexibility is actually a positive sign for the future of this team. The Osa trade brings back valuable draft capital and cap relief. The Solomon Thomas trade adds more cap flexibility. And now the Cowboys have multiple paths to improve this roster, whether through trades, extensions, or draft picks. And that is exactly where you want to be as an organization heading into the most important part of the offseason. Am I completely sold on every move? No. There are still questions that need to be answered, and there are still holes on this roster that need to be filled. But I am more optimistic today than I was yesterday because at least we are seeing movement. We are seeing action. We are seeing a front office that is engaged and trying to build a winner. And after years of standing pat and watching other teams make aggressive moves, it is refreshing to see the Cowboys be proactive, even if some of the decisions are painful in the short term. Make sure you subscribe to Blue and Silver Nation if you have not already, because we are going to be covering every single development as this offseason continues to unfold. And trust me, there is more coming. I can feel it in my bones. The Cowboys are not done making moves, and you are going to want to be here when the next bomb drops. Drop your comments below. Tell me what you think about these trades. Tell me who you want the Cowboys to target next. And let me know if you are riding with this team through the uncertainty, or if you need to see more before you believe. Cowboys Nation, we are in this together, and no matter what happens, I will be right here, breaking it all down for you every step of the way. Until next time, stay loud, stay proud, and always remember, this is our team through the good times and the bad. We bleed blue and silver, and nothing will ever change that peace.